morning, fam. It's your girl again, Tasha. MAMABEAR prepping. Get your drink, pull up. Got me some pumpkin spice in that one, and it's so good. So today I just want to talk about a really easy topic. It's just safety and some things to think about in regards to safety. I'm going to go over some tips, but the point of the video is to go over 6 items that are kind of, in my opinion, must-buy safety items to get ready for any kind of winter, okay, in regards to safety and staying warm. These are items that we have in our home and aren't, through the roof expensive, but are must-have buys, okay? So first thing I have is a gas tester. If you have, in my opinion, gas in any part of your home, whether that's your dryer, that's your range in your kitchen, that's maybe a gas stove to stay warm, but you have gas coming to your home or coming to your apartment, you should have a gas tester. And it's just a wand of sorts, takes batteries, very simple to operate. Turn it on, it goes through a reset situation, and then you can wand it anywhere and test. Now, everything I talk about, I am going to put in the description box below. I'm going to link it to my Amazon store. I do get a small commission if you do end up buying it through me, but by no means do you have to do that, okay? But you feel free to click on the link so you at least can see the product I'm talking about. And then you can go on Amazon and find your own product or go local or whatever. But get you a gas tester. It's a wand type, very easy, takes batteries. And so that you can wand it over different areas by the pilot, right? Wand it over there, and you can easily see quickly if you have a gas leak. We typically got these in the past for when we're setting up stuff to just ensure that we don't have any leaks and that we've set everything up properly, right? And that we're good to go. But this is a good safety item to have at all times so that if you need to wand around something or you suspect something, you have this tester, okay? So a gas tester, a link in the description box. A CO2 monitor is the next thing. So when we started getting things, another way to test stuff, really this is a great tester because it's not really a tester, it's a monitor. It's a little screen, some sort of small monitor screen. You plug it in and you set it wherever you want in the house, and you can just glance at it at all times. And to me, it's a great thing to have because at all times I can see where the CO2 levels are at in the house, okay? I like this for so many reasons, but it's quick, it's easy. We're used to looking at it and glancing at it several times a day, and it immediately will tell me how things are going in my home, right? Outside of other things, it's the quickest way, excuse me, in my opinion, without doing anything, that will tell me right away if something is wrong. Something is affecting my CO2 levels in the home. And it has an easy gauge, easy reading that tells you, hey, you're in the green, you're in the yellow, or you're in the red, okay? And it's just a quick way, okay, something's going on. Hey, we're getting a little buildup in here. Let's ventilate a little bit. Maybe it's as simple as you have a stove, you have a wood stove, and this stuff, you can have stuff that vents, right? That is attached to some sort of vent system where it vents out, or it is connected to a fireplace. You can still get buildup. So don't think because you have these things, you can't get buildup, okay? These things I'm talking about are quick indicators that something is wrong, or maybe just a little bit of ventilation needs to be added to the equation. Maybe a sliding door needs to be cracked or a window needs to be cracked while you're heating your home, okay? So a CO2 monitor, again, link in the description box. Fire alarms is my next one. Obvious, we talk about this several times on this. You need to have them in several rooms. Fire is a dangerous thing. It does kill people. Smoke kills people, okay? So a fire alarm is super important. And in my opinion, you can't have too many. As far as a lot of people are like, well, I'll just put one in the hallway. I don't necessarily need one in a room, or I don't need one in a back area that we don't really, let's say, sleep in or whatever. To me, you want to have those because those are early alarm systems. They're a system to tell you that something's wrong, right? And it might not be that you're sleeping. Maybe you're outside working on something and you hear an alarm in the house, and now you know there's something going on in your house, right? You just never know when these alarms are going to come in handy. So fire alarms. Next thing is carbon monoxide alarm. Again, we've talked about this several times on the channel. Carbon monoxide is a detector, and that happens at a lower level. So you can always ask your fire department or Google the best place to put them. We put them at chest level, almost like between stomach and chest level on the wall. You don't put them high up with a fire alarm, and we spread them out throughout the house. Obviously, having one in the room where you have anything going on as far as gas, wood stove, whatever. Even plug-in heaters, plug-in buddy heaters that take other fuels, right? Stuff that is safe for inside, right? Kerosene heaters or some sort of other heaters that are buddy heaters that are propane, that are said, hey, you can have those indoors. You need to have a little ventilation. It's smart to have a carbon monoxide and a CO2 monitor in those rooms when you're operating this stuff, because you can quickly see how that's affecting the room and the air in the room, okay? And your ability to breathe. If you're going to have, let's say, for example, a camp stove, it's in your kitchen, but you've got it ventilated, and you want to have the ability to cook inside during grid down, and you have it ventilated. But if you have a CO2 monitor and you have your carbon monoxide carbon monoxide alarms, then you should be pretty good to go, because you have stuff set up and that will indicate as soon as stuff is starting to go left and build up, okay? Same thing with people who keep propane in their house, even the little green ones, or any of that stuff. Like the wand, for example, that will go off if any of those tanks are leaking, right? If you've used them before, that thing might go off because there might be a minute amount of that being coming out of those little propane tanks, okay? So just these safety items are important. And the last thing I have is fire extinguishers. Again, you can get smaller ones and put them throughout your house in every single room. I think it's beneficial to have several of these in your house and not just your kitchen. Again, not just the places you cook, right? A fire could break out anywhere. Candles, right? A lot of people worry about candles, and oftentimes channels like this will tell you, don't use candles. If you don't use candles, don't use candles. They're super, super dangerous. Well, it's because people maybe are not used to them, and then accidents happen, right? But I'll tell you what, even somebody like me, I light candles every single day in my home, and we could still have an accident. Kids throwing stuff around, and before you know it, something gets knocked over or something gets lit on fire. You just never know. Okay. I think that regardless of what it is, you need to be paying attention. Now, the reason why I started this, did this video today is because somebody mentioned in the comments yesterday, hey, ensure you're checking on your neighbors. You're checking on your elderly. So that they checked on the elderly neighbor, and she was sitting in the kitchen with her gas stove open, right? Now, listen. Survival is survival, but people kill themselves all the time for carbon monoxide. You cannot smell it, okay? You can't see it, right? And so you could feel signs of it, right? So maybe you start to not feel good. You feel a nausea. You feel a headache coming on. Your body might sense that something's wrong, but you can't smell it and you can't see it. And so it's dangerous, right? People bringing in, even barbecuing inside of their garage, or opening those, turning on their car, and same thing, trying to stay warm, and they'll turn on their car in their garage and think they're fine because they're all the way in the house. But that gas is making its way into the house, and it's highly, highly dangerous, okay? Not to mention flammable, okay? Opening stoves and trying to stay warm, even if it's an electric stove. I know folks that will open electric stove and try to stay warm, and they're like, that is cheaper than maybe turning on the heat. Listen, if you have some of these safety measures in place where you can actually monitor as you're doing something, listen, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you need to be careful. That stuff is dangerous, right? I'll have people that come on here and tell me 30 different ways this Sunday that's how they heat their home. They've been heating their home. It's no different than a gas stove, heating stove, but it's a little different. And if you're not monitoring it, then you don't know what's happening and what it's doing to you, okay? Some tips. Think grid down. Think about all these things we talked about today and how does any of it, if at all, change during grid down, right? A lot of these items, they take batteries. Some of this stuff plugs in, like the monitor. I'm sure you probably could find a CO2 monitor that takes batteries, though. Shoot, mine might take batteries and I don't even know it, but it's a plug-in. You know, you're going to have to be thinking about that. How do you power that, for example? That's another thing that would have to get plugged into the power bank if we're trying to heat ourselves in any capacity with the gas, say, for example, or wood stove. It doesn't matter. You need to have all this stuff no matter how you're doing that alternate heating or your everyday heating for some people, okay? Think extra batteries. We talk a lot about extra batteries. You need those for your flashlights, for your lanterns, for all these things, right? Take batteries. Now, batteries are going to go bad. So I like having rechargeable batteries for everyday use. Rechargeable while we're on the grid. But you need to be stockpiling batteries, right? Regular batteries. Or again, be realizing that your power bank is going to have to power, to be able to recharge batteries, okay? But batteries are super important. You need that for when these things go down. Another thing to think about is maintenance. You've got to do your rounds. I take the wand out from time to time and test the gas around the gas points. Obviously changing filters. Mentioned this on a video the other day when we were talking about weatherizing in wintertime. Checking your fireplace, getting it checked, have somebody come out, make sure that they check that. Even if you have a gas stove and it vents, getting that checked, right? Your regular venting that goes to your HVAC, your regular heating system or your regular cooling system. Maintenance of walking around and checking the batteries for all this stuff. Once a month, you should be walking around, checking, getting your monoxide tester, the batteries changed, or your fire alarm changed, or the minute one of them starts beeping, talking about it needs a battery, don't sleep on that. Change it out, get it going, okay? But maintenance is a very, very important key piece of, one, keeping stuff safe, but making sure that it's ready to use when you need to use it. Fire extinguishers, they can go bad or they can leak. You need to make sure that you're looking at that stuff and checking it on a regular basis. Checking fuels. Fuels is another thing that kind of I tie in when I talk about safety as far as my home and the gas and the this and the that, and safety and propane. You got to check your propane tanks on a regular basis, right? You got to check whatever fuel that you're keeping, diesel fuel, gas fuel, butane, whatever it is, lamp oils, whatever the different fuels are. Make sure that is kind of rotated in with your maintenance and you're checking that stuff on a regular basis. And then options, giving yourself options like, okay, if there's no power, that's a thing that you need to think about. Is there's no power, how does all this stuff still work? What can I use, right? Give yourself options. If one heating element or source goes out, what's the option for heating your home if that goes out, right? Maybe you have a gas stove, or maybe you have electric heat, power goes out, okay, you don't have that. Okay, maybe you have a gas stove that you can turn on, right? Not a cook stove, an actual heating element, right? Okay, you start to do that, but then eventually that gas will be gone, right? Maybe you have a wood stove, okay, but do you have the resources for that? Do you have the wood for that? Do you have these safety items? Maybe it's a buddy heater that you plan to bring in, and with propane, how much propane do you have? How long have you hooked one of those up and seen how long they last? Those things last anywhere, if you run them straight, I'd say 5 to 8 hours, depending on what kind you get. And how high you turn it up, but they're not lasting all stinking day, right? And to be able to run a heater like that 24/7 is going to take some propane, right? So think about that. Think what that looks like. Think about how much you have in your reserves and literally how long that would last. And so mentally too what you would be doing. Maybe there's times and days when you're not having that on. You can just put an extra sweater on, jacket, some warmer clothes, and you're gonna be okay, right? Weatherizing your home, that stuff matters. But safety is super important, and these 6 items or 5 items, is it 1 2 3 4 5, I said 6, it's 5 items to me are must have. So one more time, gas tester to be able to test the gas. It's a wand, okay, or the kind we have is a wand. A CO2 monitor. It's just a little monitor tablet screen that just sits wherever you want to put it and is constantly testing the CO2 levels in your house, and you just can glance at it and see the number. And once you know the numbers of where stuff should be at, what are normal levels, you'll be able to tell. But it has a wand that's like a green, yellow, red type of situation. Fire alarms, your carbon monoxide testers, and your fire extinguishers. Go and visit your local fire department or call. Some of these places will give this stuff out free. Also, look online for your local preparedness places, your local safety center type places, because sometimes they will give out free stuff as well as far as carbon monoxide alarm and fire. They won't set up your whole house with that stuff, but a lot of these places have money allocated to be able to hand out to the community at least one carbon monoxide alarm and one fire alarm tester, right, that you put up, right, for smoke. So make the call. Hey, if they don't do it in your area, they don't do it, but you won't know if you don't call and you don't ask, okay? So I hope you guys are well. I know this is just it's not a premiere day. It's just a regular day. I'm not sure what we're getting into. Actually, I think I do. We got our coop set up. I'm actually working on some garden bed boxes around it to spruce it up a little bit. We're looking at about 2 weeks before we have our chicks going outside, so super excited about that. They're getting big, so I'll be showing you guys that in a video. Maybe I'll show you guys that on Thursday, how the chicks are doing, how big they're getting. They're really filling out the space they're in, so they need to be going outside soon. And I'll show you the coop. I'll show you how I have it set up, the things that we did it ourselves. So we got a coop, but our do it ourselves projects that we did for the coop as well and around the coop. So I'll see you guys tomorrow on the next video. Take care. Bye.